right.
Mama's gonna film that.
Hi, today is Monday, September 7th. Today I'd like to talk about my experiences with the school district, my
frosting?
grandson's teacher, my grandson's principal, and the school itself. He is autistic and he was placed in a behavior disorder classroom for emotional disturbance children. And the children were ages kindergarten through second grade, with Jacob being the youngest. Some of the things I experienced throughout the school year were lack of IEP reports. After 1 year of many requests, I received them. There was no follow through on the IEP recommendations. They were not completed till 1 year later. There was no IEP records on file in the school office. The school district had incomplete records. And when we went to the IEP meeting back in May of 2013, we weren't offered any other placement except for this classroom. I was greatly opposed to it because I realized that he would not do well in a classroom such as that. It was not the right placement. I fought throughout the whole year to try to have his placement changed, and the documents would have, the IEP reports were flipped back and forth as far as eligibility was concerned. The IEP legal documents were changed and flip-flopped back and forth with the eligibility. Discrimination. Jacob was punished for his autistic behavior. He would witness violent meltdowns on a daily basis and then be punished for it. The campus was unsafe. There was discrimination for myself and my daughter. We were singled out to sign in and get a sticker when everyone else would walk by and go onto the campus. The campus gates were open early, and anyone could walk upon the campus. I did contact the police, and the public safety officer came out because I felt like the campus was unsafe. Bullying occurred. No one knew how to deal with it. I felt like they needed education about how to respond to a child and a parent that's been bullied. Principal used profanity in speaking to me. He had no knowledge of the KEY program, which is the program that my grandson was in. Jacob would come home with unexplained red marks with no return call from the teacher. No communication between the principal, teacher, program director, or program management. There was a failure to educate. The whole year was spent battling with Jacob's placement and wrongdoings at school. I developed a lack of trust because there was no compassion. And I suffered anxiety, panic attacks, insomnia, hypersensitivity, as well as my grandson and my daughter. After much research, I discovered violations in my civil rights, our civil rights law, No Child Left Behind, and IDEA. When attending the IEP, signing for attending and taking the time to read carefully and seek advice from advocate as soon as possible. I called and checked the websites, found Martina. Somehow we communicated telepathically. I don't know, she seemed like she came out of nowhere and she was there. And I had enough of my layman's education to communicate with her, and she knew exactly where I was coming from. For once, I felt at ease. I didn't feel like it was just me against them. And that was important to me because I felt all alone. I felt like I was getting nowhere. No one was, in fact, I was being pushed away. I wasn't being helped. They didn't want to speak to me. They didn't want to hear anything I had to say. They would try to shut me down in IEP meetings. I also, during the time of last year, I had a caregiver's affidavit in place. When my daughter returned from a program she was in, Then at that point, the latest IEP was the last day of school. At that time, my daughter was not around the previous year, so she did not have the knowledge that I had. And at that IEP meeting, they kept trying to shut me down until my daughter signed educational rights over to me. Now they must speak to me. Now they must listen to me. So I have the rights now to protect my grandchild, and I want him to be in the right program with the right placement. I do not want him to be left to scream most of the day and bullied. I want him to have what he deserves to have. His first year of kindergarten was ruined by all of the things that I previously discussed. Wrong placement. He's in a school now where he seems to be quite happy. However, I still don't know if that's the right placement for him, but I will find out because I go to school with him every single day and I pick him up. And that's how I was able to observe the things that were going wrong. And if I have any advice at all to give to people is educate yourself. Do not sign your IEP in agreement with anything. Take the time. Sign in attendance. Take the time and read through the material. If there's something you do not understand, research it. Look it up on the website. Obtain an advocate. Get help. You do not have to agree. The school district may not have your child's best interest in heart. It's all bureaucracy and corrupt, and there's cover-ups. So I have to say to you today, take the time and educate yourself and don't feel pressured. Look for options. If the school district isn't giving you the options, you find options and present it to them because you're part of the team and you have the right to.
Perfect.